I liked Ethan from the time I was 18 until I was 22. In those years, the biggest amusement in Riverdale was watching me chase after him, doing every foolish thing imaginable for him. Later, some crowd asked why he hadn't just rejected me outright if he didn't like me. Ethan gave an indifferent smile. I kept her around as entertainment. It was as if, from that day on, the surging tide of love suddenly ebbed. I stopped clinging to him, took off the pendant necklace he'd given me, and slowly grew much quieter. When gossip about him and another girl circulated, I only smiled and let it pass. When he brought his new girlfriend to parties, I no longer stewed in jealousy. Later he told me he was really getting married and personally handed me the engraved invitation. Everyone waited for me to fall apart, to drown in regret. Even his best friend glared and demanded, "You're really not going to go to him?" I frowned, voice trembling, and cracked, "Chase, when you ask that question, could you first get off me?" Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and comment to let us know where you're listening. The first time Ethan brought a date to a crowd gathering, 3 months had already passed since our last meeting. That counted as a miracle in our circle. A crowd beside me murmured in consolation, "Skyler, if you can't take it later, make an excuse and slip out. Let's not make a scene, today's Jeremy's birthday." I smiled and said nothing. Ethan's new girlfriend was beautiful, the two of them matched perfectly. When they walked in holding hands, every crowd instinctively looked at me. I simply sat still, a faint smile on my face from start to finish. "Everyone, meet my girlfriend, Miranda." When Ethan said the word girlfriend, his gaze skimmed indifferently across my face. My expression didn't change, my smile didn't falter, I didn't even furrow my brow. Ethan didn't glance at me again. Gradually the private lounge warmed with noise. When they cut the birthday cake, the room erupted. I used to love the chaos. I'd smear someone with frosting, then grab Ethan and hide behind him. He'd act annoyed, calling it childish, but occasionally he still protected me. This time I didn't join the fray. Yet a close crowd wouldn't let me off. Cake in hand, she chased me. I laughed and darted around, but always kept my distance from Ethan. Cream streaked my face and dress. I begged for mercy. Only after that did the crowd move on to fresh targets. I wove through the clamor toward the exit, heading to the restroom to clean up. But the moment I stepped outside, Ethan called after me, "Skyler." I turned instinctively. Hallway lights cast long shadows across Ethan's face. Standing close, I still couldn't read the emotion in his eyes. "Need something?" He didn't answer, his gaze resting on my throat. "Changed your necklace?" I hesitated, then quickly recovered. "Yeah, I changed it. The previous one had been on me 4 years. It was the gift he'd given me at 18, once my most treasured possession." He curved his lips in a smile I couldn't quite decipher. "Why weren't you at the last gathering? That party?" I froze, my ears suddenly burning. I'd planned to go, but Chase invited me out at the last minute. So we both ditched the crowd. "Avoiding me?" Ethan asked lazily. "Something came up, I couldn't make it." He didn't seem convinced, but he didn't press. "What do you think of Miranda?" I answered honestly, "She's gorgeous and poised, clearly very well bred." Ethan studied me without blinking. "I think so too. So, suddenly I feel like getting married. Congratulations. Remember to send me an invitation." Ethan chuckled softly. "Deal. You'll be the first." With that, as though bored, he turned and walked away. I didn't linger either. I hurried to the restroom to wipe off the cream. But just outside the door I spotted Chase leaning against the wall, smoking. "Aren't you supposed to be on a business trip?" I was surprised, patting my face with a tissue. He stubbed out the cigarette and watched me through the mirror, half smiling. "Came back early. Otherwise I'd have missed the show." I spun around, balled the tissue, and flung it at him. "What's that supposed to mean, Chase?" He didn't duck, took the hit, and looked delighted. "What, I'm gone 2 days and you two are ready to rekindle whatever it was?" "Rekindle what?" "Nothing ever caught fire." I shot him an irritated glare. Chase nodded. "True enough." Then he stepped closer. "Hold still." "What?" He brushed away a speck of cream still clinging to my earlobe. "Your dress is dirty too." I noticed. "Bought you a new one while I was away. Want to try it on?" I trailed him upstairs, feeling dazed. We'd always clashed. He'd teased me nonstop as kids, calling me spoiled and weepy, yet never leaving me alone. When I began chasing Ethan, the crowd found it hilarious. Harmless fun. But Chase seemed disgusted by how I threw myself at him. We barely spoke for years. Then, after one impulsive night, everything shifted. I deleted his number, planning to pretend it never happened. But Chase seemed to have gone serious. The last time we met I'd meant to draw a clean line. Somehow we ended up in bed again, and round 2 had been miles better than the first. Honestly, I was starting to crave more. I couldn't help studying him in the elevator mirror. Third-generation rebel with a devil-may-care look, and unfairly handsome to boot. Unlike most trust fund guys, he grew up in the old compound and spent years in the service. His body was insane. I thought of his abs, the V-cut, the rock-hard muscle. I thought of me cursing him through tears, nails raking bloody trails down his back. Instead of snapping, he clumsily tried to soothe me. A restless feeling rose in me. Skyler. He tugged me in front of him. What's on your mind? Even the tips of your ears are red. Thinking about your body, no, how you stay fit. I hid my burning face in my hands. Yet I'd already resolved, tonight would be the final time. Afterward I would make it clear, we draw a line, cut clean, and let the secret die with us. The door clicked shut, and Chase pinned me against it. He'd learned technique, his palm behind me so the wood wouldn't scrape my skin. Shower first. Between deep kisses I pushed him, breathless. He was voracious, hand pressed to the small of my back, locking me hard against him. He kissed me again, deeper, until my legs went weak. I kicked off my heels, standing on his feet instead. His breathing fractured completely. He hoisted me up and carried me to the bathroom, crushing me against him the whole way. Warm water cascaded over us, sealing our soaked bodies in steam. Chase kept my face, kissing me again and again. His fierce brow softened under the spray. When he stared at me, I almost felt my heart stutter. Skyler. He pressed his brow to mine, my name rough in his throat. I was dazed, my answering whimper broken by each thrust. He threaded his fingers through mine, hoarse, better than last time? I bit my lip, refusing to answer. Only my sharp nails raked another scarlet line across his flexed arm. When it was over for the last time, Chase carried me to the bath to wash. I lounged at the tub's edge, watching him shower. Hot water sheeted over his broad back, spraying silver beads. Maybe the sex was too good, my old annoyance with him had thinned. Still, I knew, he wasn't my type, and I wasn't his. Ending now was best. He lifted me from the tub. I sat cozy and huge in a plush robe on the vanity while he blow-dried my hair. Afterward he cradled me back to bed. I draped over his shoulder, half asleep. Chase. Let's not see each other anymore, starting tomorrow. Don't come looking for me ever again. I'll block you in a minute, iMessage, calls, voicemail, Twitter, everything. What happened between us, you swallow it. Tell no one. Chase stopped walking. Skyler. His voice sounded heavy. I lifted my drowsy eyelids for a second, then NK back into sleep. Chase laid me on the bed. He stood there a long while before a self-mocking smile tugged at his lips. Skyler, you really have no conscience. But I didn't hear him. The next morning, I deleted every trace of him while he watched. He sat on the sofa, face unreadable. A cigarette burned between his fingers, he never lifted it to his lips. I wore the new dress he'd bought me, flashed him a carefree smile. I'm out. For more than a month after that, Chase and I didn't meet. Yet, maybe it was my imagination, but Ethan seemed to pop up everywhere. I started skipping the smaller crowd gatherings. Anything to cut the odds of running into him. Until a crowd engagement party made avoidance impossible. Ethan drank too much and chose that night to lose control. Skyler, do you have a problem with me? I blinked. You're drunk, Ethan. Go sit it off. We've been crowd for years, and you dodged me like I wronged you. I've been busy. Cut it, Skyler. I know exactly what's in your head. He gave a cold laugh. But being angry won't help, you'll never measure up to Miranda. I nearly laughed myself. Angry? Me? You're really wasted. I stood to leave. Ethan caught my arm. You used to be such a jealous little thing. No tantrum this time? Realized it's pointless? I frowned, yanked free, and spotted Chase a few steps away, half smiling at the spectacle. A sudden flare of anger erupted in my chest. That smug, spectator look on his face was infuriating. I pulled out my phone, opened iMessage. Chase had sent several friend requests. I'd ignored them all. This time I tapped accept. Then I texted him. Up for a round? Chase took a cool half-minute. Yes. Same room as last time. The second that message delivered, I blocked him again. Chase. When the engagement party wound down, I told the crowd I was leaving early. Ethan asked where I was going. I didn't answer. A proud guy like him wouldn't chase. In the corridor I heard several crowd call after Chase. Chase. You bailing too? Thought we were hitting the next bar? Personal business. Drinks are on me next time. Ethan rose, half blocking him. What's more important than you's engagement? You've been MIA for weeks, spill. Hidden behind a potted palm, I watched. Tonight Chase wore a sharp black suit, even more formal than Ethan's. Side by side he stood a finger taller. Where Ethan was lean and patrician, Chase was molded by military grit, raw electricity in a tux. Skinny in clothes, buffet underneath might have been coined for him. Images of our 2 nights flooded back, Chase lifting me one-handed, never breaking stride from bedroom to bath. Later, remembering how I'd lost control, soaking his abs, heat rushed to my cheeks. I pressed the back of my hand to cool them. When I looked again, Chase sensed me and glanced over. I stepped back, pulse fluttering. Thing is, he told Ethan, it's important. Ethan pressed. How important? Don't tell us Chase is in love? Saw him checking his phone like it owed him money. Come on, who is she? Anyone we know? Chase smiled, but the grin never reached his eyes. To me it looked lonely. I'll explain when she's ready. She's shy. If I say too much she'll be mad. Ethan studied him. For real? Haven't seen any girl around. Started recently. Chase met Ethan's stare. When she wants to go public, I'll bring her. Fair enough, won't cockblock you. Ethan smirked. So the monks finally tasted sake. Lower, he added, sealed the deal yet? Chase's expression cooled. I don't kiss and tell. Respect matters. Ethan colored. Chase let him off the hook. I'm out. My round next week. Bring the mystery girl. Yeah, dying to meet her. Chase waved and left. As the revolving door closed, someone mused, funny how every party misses Skyler and Chase. You two think they hooked up? Ethan's face darkened. Shut it. Chase has hated Skyler since sandbox days. You know how he is, can't stand clingy girls. True, they've always grated on each other. Talk moved on, but Ethan felt a weight settle on his chest. He stared through the glass. Chase was gone. So was Skyler. He told himself it was coincidence. After all, they were buddies. He knew Chase and Skyler loathed each other. What Ethan didn't know was that the 2 people he believed couldn't stand one another were now en route to the Grand, one after the other. When I stepped out of the shower, Chase was already on the living room sofa. There's another bath. Why not use it? I asked, toweling my hair. He lounged back, eyes on me. Didn't you say no more contact? I glanced at him. Door's right there if you want to leave. A self-mocking tilt lifted his lips, but he stood anyway. He walked over and took the towel. My hair's long. I never bothered drying it properly. If he wanted to play stylist, I'd enjoy the service. When it was half dry he shut off the dryer. I'm grabbing a shower. I curled on the sofa and flicked on the TV. He bent, brushed a kiss to my mouth. Wait for me. 15 minutes later the water stopped. Soon the bathroom door opened. Chase stepped out wearing only a towel knotted at his hips. Wide shoulders, narrow waist, classic V torso. Chest and abs sculpted, legs long, glutes high, skin a sun-kissed bronze. We'd been together plenty, yet the sight still made me shy. I stared, greedy, before forcing my gaze away. He seemed to smirk. He ruffled his hair once, dropped the towel, and came over. Before I could speak, I was airborne. Chase. I yelped and locked my arms around his neck, shooting him a glare. Real amusement sparkled in his eyes. Skyler. What? What position tonight? The question oozed seduction. His kiss landed at my ear. Breath tangled in the small space, suddenly intimate. I sounded softer when I answered, like you know that many. He laughed, low and pleased. I've been studying since last time. Pervert. Study something useful. Care to test the curriculum? Trying for calm, I felt my heartbeat scatter. Fine. If I'm not impressed, I swap professors. Chase cut me off with a demanding kiss, the rest of my sentence crushed under his mouth. It turned into a muffled murmur that was swallowed along with my breath. He kissed me deep and hard. By the time we reached the bed he had pressed me down into the soft mattress. The belt of my plush robe came undone in his hands. Hands forged in military drills. Slightly rough, calloused. And tonight the force was heavier than any time before. I couldn't help letting out a low cry. His breathing suddenly turned ragged. Skyler. Chase's eyes were dark with lust, his voice hoarse. Why does it feel different from the first 2 times? I gazed at him, dazed, not sure what he meant. But that look seemed to undo him. His scorching kisses trailed downward, finally lingering at the very top. A breeze came from somewhere and lifted the white gauze curtains. As the fringe danced, my slender waist arched like a bow drawn tight. I met him without thinking. Skyler, do you like it? I shook my head, biting my lip, refusing to speak. Yet the corners of my eyes were already wet with involuntary tears. Chase didn't push me too far. He only asked. If I didn't answer, he drove into me hard. Skyler, still blocking me? My sobs shattered with every thrust. No, not blocking. My fingers clawed at his forearms, nails nearly breaking his skin. Only after tasting did I know the flavor. Besides, Chase really was an excellent student. Each time felt leagues better than the last. But tonight he wouldn't give me a quick release. He used a dull knife, slicing slowly, driving me insane. Now tell me, do you like it? I stayed silent, so he slammed again. Yes, I like it. Skyler, will you be with me? My eyes flew open. Chase? He didn't answer, only looked down at me. Those eyes I used to hate, arrogant, defiant, were now fathomless. Holding back restraint, hiding emotions I couldn't read. Didn't you always hate me? Hate you, yet I keep coming back for more? He lowered his gaze and laughed. Spring torrents were flooding, yet he held still. Skyler, I'm only asking once, will you be with me? I was about to lose my mind, body, spirit, sanity, all teetering on the edge. In the end, desire swallowed everything. Yes. Chase. Skyler. His kiss landed. Everything, Skyler, whatever you want, I'll give it. When the storm finally passed, night had long since fallen. My phone showed a string of missed calls and iMessages. Half of them were from Ethan. I didn't reply, instead I blocked every way he could reach me. Moments later, Chase's phone rang. He picked up, and Ethan's voice came through loud and clear. Chase, where are you? Chase pulled me into his arms. Exhausted, I lay limp against his chest. With a girl, what's up? Nothing urgent, just nobody can reach Skyler. I don't mind, but everyone's worried. Your places are close, did you see her come home? Chase glanced at me, I put a finger to my lips. Yeah, she's back. Alright, won't mess with your date. Ethan cracked a couple jokes and hung up. Chase tossed his phone aside, then took mine. Unlock it. Why? Take me off blacklist. I unlocked reluctantly and watched him clear every block. An odd, complicated taste filled my mouth. Truth was, I hadn't really wanted to block him. Keeping this long-term thing going sounded nice. After all, it really was incredible. Skyler. Don't only look for me when you're horny. About what I just said, don't forget. I hemmed and hawed, finally dropping a classic, you actually believe pillow talk? How dumb. Chase laughed like I'd amused him. Fine, feel free to back out. He tipped my chin. Tomorrow I'll drop by your house and tell your parents we've hooked up 3 times. Chase. I instantly caved. If mom and dad found out, they'd shove the marriage license into my hands. Okay, I own it. Just give me some time. Sure. The day you're ready to go public, we'll do it again. I'm not that sex crazed. He nipped my lip. Of course you're not. You only make me change the sheets every time. Chase. Mortified, I bit his chin hard in revenge. If you weren't so wicked, always edging me, I wouldn't react like that. Not long after, another crowd returned from grad school and threw a welcome back party. Chase, Ethan, and I actually showed up in the same room. Ethan brought Miranda, as always. The thoughtful crowd seated Chase and me on opposite ends. Back when I'd chased Ethan, even a dog could smell Chase's disgust for me. After a few rounds the mood heated up. Someone asked Ethan, so when do we toast your wedding? Ethan flicked a look at me, arm draped around Miranda. Soon, already planning. Every gaze swiveled to me. I didn't even lift an eyebrow, just spooned up my soup. The dishes tonight were great, several of my favorites. My phone buzzed. Chase. Walk after dinner to digest? Where to? The lakefront promenade, there's a man-made lake, pretty view. Sure. I was stuffed, and Ethan and Miranda's lovey-dovey show almost made me gag. Some air sounded perfect. Let's go separately. You first, I'll follow. Chase didn't reply, but a minute later he pocketed his cigarettes and stood. Need fresh air, gonna smoke. About 10 minutes after he left, I rose too. Restroom for me. Everyone was laughing, no one noticed. I didn't see how Ethan tracked me with his eyes. Or how, the instant the door shut, he got up as well. Chase texted, waiting downstairs. I skipped the restroom and took the elevator straight down, crossed the lobby, and found him under a tree, lighting up. He stubbed the cigarette when he saw me. Night air was cool, I hugged myself. Chase stepped over and pulled me into his arms. No words, he simply bent and kissed me. I didn't resist, I tilted my face to meet him. We kissed like we couldn't part, unaware of the figure behind us. Ethan stood on the steps, face dark as storm clouds, watching every second. Soon after that party, news broke, Ethan and Miranda were getting married. Almost immediately, the engraved invitations reached every crowd. Mine arrived hand-delivered by Ethan. I accepted it with genuine warmth. Congratulations, can't wait for the big day. Ethan didn't look happy. Skyler, I never thought I'd end up marrying Miranda. I always figured you'd badger me until I gave in. No need to say that now. I cut in, smiling freely. I was young and dumb, sorry for the craziness. Let's forget it. The last trace of a smile vanished from his face. Skyler, this isn't a joke. I really am getting married. I know, best wishes. His eyes turned icy, he gave a cold laugh. Funny, of all of us, I always thought Chase would marry first. I blurted, why? Ethan held my gaze. Because I knew long ago there was a girl he liked more than anything. He planned to file for a marriage license the day he hit legal age. Then something happened, and it fell through. Looks like I'm beating him to it. I stood frozen. 100 feelings surged through me. In the end they all fused into bitter ache. No wonder Chase had lived rumor-free all these years. Turns out his heart had been claimed long ago. I figured if we hadn't gotten wasted that night and tumbled into bed by accident, he and I never would have crossed paths in this lifetime. I clearly didn't like him. I'd always gone for the gentle, jade-cool type, refined, quiet, elegant. We'd been at each other's throats since elementary school. I openly loathed him. So why, the instant I learned someone else owned his heart, did my chest cave in with a hurt I couldn't name? Skyler. Ethan tapped the engraved invitation in my hand. Check the time. Don't be late. That day I asked Bestie to meet me for drinks. Bestie assumed I couldn't stomach the news that Ethan was marrying Miranda. But that wasn't it. Their upcoming wedding stirred nothing in me. All I could think was, what did the girl Chase liked look like? And when Chase loved someone, what form did that love take? If she came back, would he drop his armor and fall straight into her arms again? I even caught myself picturing them together, ridiculous, cinematic scenes that stung. I couldn't tell whether I was clinging to his body, or whether, somewhere along the way, I had started falling for the man. After I waved Bestie into a cab, I called Chase. He drove over to pick me up. By then I was too drunk to stand, quietly planted on a roadside bench, waiting. I watched his car barrel toward me. Watched him climb out, tall and razor straight. Watched that stubborn, handsome face come into focus, and suddenly I wanted to cry. By the time he reached me, tears already slicked my cheeks. He didn't wipe them away. Nor did he coax me with the velvet voice he used in bed. He simply stood there, expression unreadable, watching me bawl. Grief gushed up like a broken spring. Chase. I hiccuped, hand trembling toward him. His stony mask cracked, barely. A few beats later he lifted his knuckles and brushed a tear from my lashes. Skyler, why the tears? I didn't know how to tell him. How to explain the riot inside my ribcage. I only pressed my face to his chest and cried silently for the longest time. Eventually he sighed, helpless. All right, enough. I'm taking you home. Your place. I had never spent an entire night at his house. But tonight I wanted to. I wanted to lie in his bed with him. I wanted to stay till sunrise. Yet the words stuck, courage failing. Chase's house was huge, open, austere, everything in its place. Bathrooms all yours. Stay out of my study, any other room is fair game. He produced a pair of fresh slippers. Looking at the oversized manboats, I couldn't help asking, no ladies' sizes? Nope. You've never brought a girl home? You know my dating history as well as anyone. True, we'd grown up scrapping in the same sandbox. But everybody keeps secrets, and Chase was no exception. I stepped into the slippers, feigning casual curiosity. Ever been in love? Arms folded, he smirked. Yes. I was bent over, mid-swap, and nearly face-planted. He steadied me. How much did you drink? Not much. I straightened, then swayed again. He scooped me up. Shower first. After the first round, I lay sprawled on the mattress, idly scrolling. Chase went to grab water. He returned to find me browsing Instagram, flood of crimson invitations, everyone flaunting the upcoming gala. iMessage pings kept popping. Are you gonna beg Ethan to take you back? Face like flint, Chase yanked the phone away. Hydrate. I stayed belly down. Feed me. He didn't argue, lifted me, tipped the glass to my lips, then flattened me to the bed again. This time he drove harder, faster. I unraveled quickly. Chase. You running to him? Who? You know who, Ethan. He's getting married, remember? Why would I go to him? Weren't you crazy about him, crying your eyes out every other week? Chase. Answer me, Skyler, are you going to him? His voice had gone savage. Chase, could you get off me before interrogating me? I frowned, my words fracturing with each thrust. No. Answer, will you run to him? Like the other night, every question slammed against my core. I couldn't take it, voice quavering. No, no, I won't go. Swear you remember that. Chase, slower. Can't. He bent to kiss me, deep, bruising. The man's stamina was terrifying. I felt like a skiff on a squall, wave after wave battering me, shaking me apart. Maybe the sex had been too fierce, the condom broke. Before Ethan and Miranda's big day, a test stick showed 2 pink lines. Staring at the lab report, I went numb. Ethan claimed Chase already cared for someone else. Chase himself had admitted it. He and I were a dead end, nothing more than mutual distraction, bodies keeping loneliness at bay. A man like Chase would only marry for love. So he wouldn't want this baby. Yet the mere possibility squeezed tears from me before reason could. I switched off my phone and holed up in my apartment for 2 straight days. Finally I made the decision, while it was St. ill a cluster of cells, and it, cleanest for everyone. I checked into the clinic, for needle taped to my arm. Chase burst in clutching my termination consent. I'd never seen his face so dark. Those wild, untamed eyes were iced over, glacial. Skyler. My name cracked out of him, hoarse, trembling. The frost thawed, but into raw, red anguish. Why won't you keep him, Chase? I bolted upright. Skyler, why? He gripped my shoulders, fingers shaking. Tears spilled before I could stop them. I just didn't want to complicate your life. Complicate, or something else? He didn't wait, laughed bitterly. You heard Ethan and Miranda won't wed, so you're scrapping our kid to go back to him, right? What are you talking about? I blinked, lost. I won't hand you over. Crimble threaded his irises. I called Harrington. My parents know you're pregnant, and that I'm marrying you. Marrying? That's right, marrying. He cupped my cheeks, blotting every tear. You promised me. Promised to be with me. Promised to go public. Your word counts, Skyler. It sticks. But if the girl you love comes back, what then? My tears seemed bottomless. I stared up at him, cheeks endlessly wet. I just don't want you to hate me. If she returns and I've stolen her place, resentment will rot what we have. So before I fall for you, before the baby even feels anything, I cut us loose. Less pain that way. The girl I love? Yes. I asked you, and you said she exists. Then why didn't you ask who she is? Who? Chase framed my face, suddenly smiling. Skyler, go search my study. The answer's waiting. I followed Chase home once more. He produced a pair of brand new slippers, dainty, blush pink, exactly my size. Didn't you forbid me from your study? Before, yes. Now, no. Why the change? You'll know when you get there. Chase sounded a little uncomfortable. I'm going downstairs to grab something. Then he warned me again, be careful, don't trip or bump into anything. Okay. Chase's study was surprisingly large. Books were arranged in proper rows, filling the whole room. Yet the desk felt out of place. So did the wall behind it. It was plastered with photos, big ones, small ones. If you looked even slightly closer, you'd notice one thing every picture had in common, each one showed me. From kindergarten and elementary school all the way to the years when we'd both grown up, though the shots became rarer with time. On the desk sat a pink, rhinestone-studded, hopelessly girly heart-shaped frame. Inside it was a picture of 2 kids. The girl was me, 2 fat bows in my hair, laughing without a shred of dignity. The boy was him, a good head taller, striking a cool pose for the camera. I'd given him that frame as a Children's Day gift. On the back, in crooked letters, I'd written, wishing Skyler and Chase friendship forever. I couldn't help laughing. But the smile turned into tears. I suddenly remembered reading Jean Young's The Smiling, Proud Wanderer in middle school. Back then I'd obsessed over why the junior sister switched her affections to Lang Pingji. Why she'd throw away the wonderful senior, then lose her life for Lang Pingji. Later, it seemed I'd turned into that junior sister myself. Drifting farther from Chase, letting Ethan wrap me around his finger. Still, I was 100 times luckier than her. I hadn't walked the road to its dark end. I hadn't missed the man who had quietly loved me all along. When Chase came back carrying several boxes of supplements, I was sitting in his leather chair reading his journal. The idiot. He'd teased me on purpose when we were little, making me cry. Turned out Ethan had put him up to it, telling him boys show they like a girl by bullying her and making her cry. Later, when he grew up, he regretted it. But it was too late, I'd already fallen for the gentle, refined Ethan. He never hated me. What he hated was seeing Skyler orbit Ethan, letting him yank her emotions like a puppet, losing herself entirely. I didn't dare him. Imagine how much pain Chase felt watching that. He'd thought of giving up, of leaving for good. He'd tried to like someone else, to settle for a half-life. but he couldn't. The night I got drunk and he took me away, it was the only reckless, all-or-nothing gamble of his life. On that page of the journal there were just two enormous words. No regrets. I closed the notebook. Chase pushed open the study door. He looked at me, the tips of his ears faintly red. He cleared his throat. What do you want for lunch? I leaned back in the chair and stretched out my hand. Chase walked over, step by step. He took my hand, then knelt and gently pressed his face to my belly. Skyler, is our baby really in there? I laughed through my tears, bending to kiss him, drops falling onto his face. In a few more months he'll start kicking. We held each other like that, neither of us willing to shatter the quiet happiness. The day before Chase and I filed for our marriage license, Ethan suddenly came to see me. By then I already knew he and Miranda had split. To be precise, Miranda had done the dumping. No girl on earth could stand the man she liked treating marriage like some casual joke. He'd never planned to marry Miranda at all. The engraved invitations had been a spur-of-the-moment taunt aimed at me. All because he'd seen Chase and me kiss that night. How laughable. From that day on, Ethan slowly realized he cared about me far more than he'd ever thought. I listened to him narrate every twist of his feelings over the years, clear, logical, persuasive. But I truly didn't care, didn't want to hear. Early pregnancy had me sleeping all the time. Halfway through his monologue I started nodding off. Skyler, you're sleepy? Ethan looked stunned. He knew I used to love the way he could talk elegantly about anything. That was the old me. I'd figured out long ago that a man like that can't compare with a doer like Chase. How had I ever let pig fat blind my heart? I raised my arms in a lazy tch and yawned. Yeah, first trimester, always sleepy. Ethan went blank. First trimester? What first trimester? You're pregnant? How can you be pregnant? Why can't I be pregnant? He sounded unbearably noisy. If that's all, go ahead and leave. I want to nap. Skyler, explain, how are you pregnant? It's only been a short while, how did you get pregnant? You and Chase. Have you two been sneaking around for ages? He must have recalled all those times Chase and I had disappeared together. His composure cracked in seconds. Yep, we've been together for a while. But it has nothing to do with you. We were never even dating. I stretched again, drowsy beyond belief. I'm heading to bed. No need to see yourself out. Skyler, you liked me for years. I don't believe you can fall for someone else so fast. His face was full of resentment. If it's only because of the pregnancy, it's not because of the pregnancy at all. I simply love Chase. I actually liked him when we were kids, then got bewitched for a few years. But I've come back to my senses. I stood and gave him sincere advice. Miranda is a truly great girl. Ethan, you should get serious and win her back before it's too late. Skyler, don't look me up anymore. Chase is petty and crazy jealous. Sure enough, the moment Chase heard Ethan had come by, he marinated in vinegar all night. I coaxed him with kisses and hugs for quite a while. Then he suddenly got up and went to the bathroom. When he came out he wouldn't let me touch him. We're still in the first trimester, not yet 3 months. The doctor warned us not to sleep together. Mom had wanted me to stay at home for now, but Chase flatly refused, promising both sets of parents he'd take perfect care of me. At first we slept obediently under separate blankets, but in minutes I wriggled into his, demanding kisses, hugs, and snuggles. Skyler, we really can't right now. I'm not asking for sex, I just want you to hold me. I squirmed untie. I found the comfiest spot and closed my eyes blissfully. Chase, meanwhile, was tormented. Skyler, I can't sleep like this. Breathe, Chase. How am I supposed to breathe? He brushed the hair from my face, hot breath tickling my ear. The woman I love is lying right here, even a saint would lose it. So what do we do? He hugged me tight, face buried against my neck. After a long moment he mumbled, I'll hold you a little longer, Skyler. I stroked his hair, my heart fluttering. I could hardly believe my own good fortune. Will it hurt? I'll take another cold shower in a bit. Chase. Aren't you forgetting something you should say? Like what? I like you. He laughed softly, pure joy in the sound. Skyler, I love you. I gave a contented hum. All right, I love you too. Then I couldn't help laughing. In the warm night we huddled under the quilt, arms locked, giggling together, like we'd slipped back to the carefree days of childhood. Little Skyler and little Chase would be friends forever. Grown-up Skyler and Chase would love each other for life. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and share with your crowd. We can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. See you next time.